Hey, so it's about 11 p.m. right now, and I've been so tired all day. Yeah, but I took I had Mountain Dew at something like 6:30 so that I could stay awake through a thing Radius just did. And so now I'm alert and I don't feel tired at all. So I thought I'd use the time to make another video. And so what this one is going to be about is there's an idea that I have expressed to people probably like maybe 20 times over the past few years, and so it's something I'm regularly saying to people, and I can actually think of a few people that these ideas I want to convey might bless even right now. So I'm going to make a video just conveying some ideas that have been kind of insightful and profound to me over the last 5 or so years. And here's what it's basically about. It's how to better understand when we want to do something but aren't doing it. That's really kind of vague, but think about someone who really wants to have a thriving, flourishing relationship with God, but doesn't seek it very well. You talk to them about it like, yes, I want this, but then it appears from their life that they don't really want it. That's certainly described to all of us at various stages in our life with God. Think about someone in community. Probably a number of you have sat down with your community before and be like, all right guys, what do we want this to be like? And then you get these Acts 2 ideas about how amazing it's going to be, and then you're 6 months into it and it's not that. So everybody said they wanted those things. Why didn't they do it? Why aren't people doing it? Let's say you really, in a sense, you want, or you should study for a test and you don't do it. Or I'm trying to think of other examples. Let's say you want to eat more healthily, but it's just not happening. So use your own example. I would challenge you. You can go ahead and pause this video, and if you'll just think through an area in your life where you're sort of, maybe you could say that about yourself. There's something you want, but you're not really pursuing it in the way that you know would be beneficial. If you can name an example like that out of your own life, and then think about that as I share the insights I'm about to share, it may be good, it may be helpful. So, I dare you. Try it. Alright, so here's some of my history, and I guess maybe this will be my first insight. I'll probably have to split this up into 2 videos. It's sort of 2 chunky insights. So here's what I'm working with. About 5 years ago, there was a person in my life, and I really wanted to have a conversation with this person that was basically a way for me to verbally grab them and shake them and be like, you don't want this, the person would say that this person wanted this thing. Just let me be really vague. And would say it over and over again. I heard it many times, and then week after week it was like, well, I'm not sure you really want this because you're not doing it, So probably like 5 years ago this was going on, and I started trying to think, sort of strategically plan how I was going to sort of go in for the surgical strike and say the things that need to be said so that this person would be convinced this person did not want it. Okay, so one Saturday I was with one of my friends, and we were working in a basement insulating some ductwork. And my friend knew the person that I wanted to do this with. You don't want it, and so I was like, well, we're working in the basement. I've got some time. I'm going to run by him how I'm going to convey this thing to this person and sort of get his feedback. Make sure I'm not being too overbearing when I go, dude, you don't want it. Or not too weak either. So we're like insulating ductwork. I'm working over my head. I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to tell him this. This is how I'll portray what I'm going to do with my friend. And in the midst of that, I had an epiphany. Here's what it was. I had only owned my home and the house next door that I rent out. I only owned those homes for probably, let's say like 6-8 months at this point. And this house that I live in was chaotic, man. There was chaos, okay? Now I have a basement right underneath me, and it was full of my grandpa's, this is my grandparents' house. It was full of my grandpa's old stuff that they had stored away. It was a wreck, and I was determined to organize my basement, okay? Stay with me. Alright, so I'm wrapping the insulation. I'm thinking through how I'm going to say to this guy, how I'm going to convey to my friend what I'm going to say to this person. You don't want it. And as I'm thinking through how I'm going to do this, I realize, hold on. I have a chaotic basement. And I have wanted shelves to be installed in my basement for months. And what I realized was, if the dude who I wanted to go, you don't want it, if that dude had come to me as I'm wrapping the insulation around the ductwork, if he'd have gone, Blake, stop wrapping stinking ductwork. You don't want shelves in your basement. I would have been like, you're a liar, you're wrong, I really, really do. Let me explain to you why I don't have shelves in my basement. Here's why I don't have them. It's because, one, I'm poor as junk. I just bought a house and I have a home renovation job. I don't make much cash. I don't have much money, and my money needs to go elsewhere. So I'm not going to buy a bunch of shelves and a hammer drill to get it in the mortar or the brick. So I have to anchor the shelves in the brick. So I'm like, that's one reason, money. Another reason is time. I've got these new houses. Everything needs to be done. I've got to insulate this thing from ductwork so my tenants are happy. I'm like, man, just for time's sake, I don't need to take a weekend and install a bunch of shelves so I can get that to be non-chaotic. And I had other reasons, I'm sure. What I want you to see is, I realized that here I am planning how to get this person to see you don't really want it because I can't see it. When if that person had come to me and said, Blake, you don't really want shelves in your basement because I can't see it, I'd have been like, you are flat wrong. So the reason I didn't have shelves in my basement is this. It was a genuine desire, but it sat down on the ladder of priorities, right? I mean, I had other priorities for money, I had other priorities for my time. That showed me that I had no business going to this dude and be like, you don't want it. I should say, you probably do want this. It's just a weak want. It's a weak desire in comparison to your other desires. I just got a text message. And it's down on the priority ladder. Okay? That's the first insight. If there's an area in your life where you could say you want something like a better community, or you fill in the blank, but it's like you're not doing it, you're not doing the work, you're not really chasing it down. Okay, so to accurately understand what's going on is, say you want it, but understand where it fits in the scheme of all your desires. That's the first way to really get a grapple on the situation so that you can start to readjust. Maybe start really pursuing community. Maybe start really doing blah, blah, blah with God. So there. That's the first insight. I gotta make a new video. Hold on.